Hello, and welcome to the Anatomy of Knitting, episode 64. My name is Erin, and I'm going to be your host. Today, it is March 26th, 2015. It is a beautiful sunny day. You can probably see the reflection of the sun in my glasses here in Cork, Ireland, and I am excited to podcast with you. I have a few things to talk about today. I don't think this episode will be as long as last week's, but we'll see. I sometimes have a tendency to just go on talking. So in this episode, I'll talk about the week in review. I'll talk about what's on the needles. I'll talk about the needle-adjacent projects, stealing a term from Christine of the Yarnings podcast. And I will talk about some sewing stuff that I've done. So let's get started. The week in review. It's been a fairly quiet week. Oh, you're gonna have an Ari, an Ari cameo. So it's been a pretty quiet week. After I had my day off last week, I took the boys to a place called Supernova here. In the village of Ballincollig. And Supernova is one of those indoor playground areas. It's, covered with like gym mats and foam, and everything is padded and kids can't really hurt themselves. And there's a section for older kids that has like big slides and twisty corkscrew slides and I think like a gun that they can shoot little foam balls out of, and all sorts of things like that. And I hadn't really thought that I just realized my phone is not on silent, so I'm going to do that. I hadn't really noticed that we had those in the U.S. I think it does exist, but I hadn't really noticed them prior to moving here. So it's really nice to have during the wintertime when it's all gray and rainy and yucky. So I took the boys, there's a toddler group on Fridays. It's from 10 until noon, I think. And we were the only kids there for about 40, well, they're kids. I'm not a kid, but we were the only people there for about 40 minutes, and then people started trickling in. And the boys had a fun time. I think one of the videos I've put to be a part of the podcast is from Supernova. We then had a little quiet weekend. We went to a park in Cork, and the boys got a chance to ride on some new slides, and Malcolm went down a corkscrew slide all by himself, which was pretty exciting for me. And excuse me, I have ATR. And that's been about it. I've been knitting and sewing, and yeah, it's been a quiet week. I did want to talk about some different things that I have noticed here, living here, versus the United States. Easter is coming up. It's not this Sunday, but I think it's next Sunday. I think it's the 5th of April. Which I guess would be, I don't have a calendar in front of me. I know it's coming up soon. And I've been wanting to let the boys have some Easter baskets. But apparently Easter baskets aren't a thing here. What is the thing here is that all of the candy companies produce chocolate or big eggs, like these sets of an egg filled with the candy bars that the egg is for, and there's there's a toffee crisp one that it's a mug with a chocolate hollow egg on top, and then 2 toffee crisp bars as well in the box. So that seems to be the thing here, is that nobody does Easter egg baskets, but they do these big giant Easter eggs, and they can be made of candy or not. It all depends on the one you buy. So I've been trying to find Easter baskets to make an Easter basket for the boys. I wasn't able to find any baskets yet per se. and by Easter baskets, I mean like they're colored, they're like green or purple or whatever, pink. I haven't been able to find anything like that. So my backup plan is that I'll just find some generic baskets to use. I think I have some IKEA ones upstairs that I'm not using at the moment. They're square baskets. Oh my goodness, I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm so sorry. And we wanted to do an Easter egg hunt in the backyard, just in the in our backyard here. And so I've been looking for, the eggs they're plastic eggs, and you can crack them open and you can put stuff in them. And I hadn't been able to, excuse me, I hadn't been able to find any. So I went downtown this morning. I had some errands to run. One, I had to find some buttons for the cardigan that I'm working on. I had to find some Irish gifts for Jess and her little boy that I'm going to send them when I send her her hat. And there was one more thing. What was I going to do? Oh, I was going to go check out the Smiths downtown we've been collecting for the boys there are these die-cast models of cars, the movie cars, and I've been checking out all of the toy stores that are local, and I'm trying to have a complete set of the first movie, and right now all we're missing is Flo and Sheriff, and I think that's it. My parents found Sally in the States, and they're going to be sending her to us. And I think that's it of all of the cars that we have. I wanted to get the boys a full set, so if they wanted to, they could recreate the movie. Oh, we're missing Chick Hicks too. I haven't seen Chick Hicks anywhere. Anyway, so I went downtown, and I don't even remember where I was going with the story. Oh, yes, now I remember. I found some of the plastic eggs that you could break open. So we can do an Easter egg hunt in the back. So that's a good thing. It's so interesting trying to figure out how to navigate some of these holidays that, they just do things so differently. Like Christmas, there were no candy canes. I didn't see any candy canes anywhere, which I would have thought would have been more of a universal thing. Anyway, oh my God. Sorry. Okay, now to more exciting things. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Apparently, I guess I'm not breathing enough. Whatever. So, knitting. I have finished all of the knitting on my cardigan. This is the Hopper cardigan from the New American Knits book by Amy Christoffers. The last time I spoke to you, I had done the button band, and I was halfway done with this button band that actually has the buttonhole here. And I spoke to you about the Button Wizard, which is an app that I found on my phone that you can use to calculate where you need to put your buttons. So I did that, and I finished that button band, and then I picked up the stitches on the neckband, and then cast off quite firmly. I have woven in all the ends. Wove. I don't know what the past tense right now is. And now I have a finished Hopper cardigan minus some buttons. So I went downtown to a shop called Vibes and Scribes, which sounds quite dirty, but it's not. They have two locations. One is a bookstore, and one is their craft store. And they have yarn downstairs in the basement. They have fabric and sewing stuff on the ground floor, and then on the first floor they have like other crafty things, like paper craft things and paper mache things and styrofoam, and they're crafty books up there. So I went there. Oh, that's the other. I bought two things. I bought thread to quilt the quilt that I'm working on. And pardon me for the rustling. And then I found these buttons to go on the cardigan. And they're sort of coppery, brassy looking. And I didn't try this at the store. I took the sweater with me to see if the buttons would actually go through the buttonholes. And they do, because I live dangerously like that. So that's what it's going to look like in situ. There's the button. And I thought about doing the couture button tutorial that the Knitmore girls do, and I tried to find some grow grain ribbon to go on the back, but there wasn't anything there that I liked. So I'm gonna live dangerously and just sew them onto the knitting here. So yeah. So that's the sweater that I am knitting, or that I am almost done with. I should have it completely finished next week. If I don't have the buttons sewn in by next week, I should get a slap on the wrist. So I should keep these together, the sweater and the buttons. The next thing I have to show you is the sock yarn blanket that I've been working on. And I need to write down how far along I am when I show this to you. So this is the square that I started with, and I've shown you all of these. There's the handspun one, there's the fruju one. I think I was somewhere around here when I spoke to you last. I want to say maybe like this one, or the pink one? No, maybe the green one. I don't remember. Anyway, I've continued on. I think it might have been this one. Yeah. I don't remember. I need to write this down. So this is Sheepspot Sustainable Merino Fingering in the Still Waters Run Deep colorway. I believe this is Shibui Knits sock yarn, and I don't remember what colorway it is, but I bought this along with this pink here, which is also Shibui, to make a sweater for my husband's cousin's daughter. And I made this sweater for her, gosh, years and years ago. I think she's almost 5 now. This is Hazel Knits Artisan Sock Yarn, I believe in the Nemo colorway, although don't quote me on the colorway. This is Koigu. I was participating in the Sockapalooza sock exchange, and this is Koigu. I accidentally purchased 2 skeins that didn't look very similar, and so I went back and purchased a skein that looked much more similar to the sock I had already knit, so I could knit the second sock. This is, I think this is Hazel Knits as well. Hazel Knits Artisan Sock Yarn, although I don't know the colorway. This is Volmise. This is Volmise. And I don't remember what yarn this is, but I used this to make a sweater for my husband's sister's daughter. There, and I'm almost done with that square there. So, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If I hold it up, it is just about my arm span, which you can't see because I can't get back far enough. And I think I'm going to do maybe 2 or 3 more squares and then call this good for a length, because I want it enough that I can like drape over my lap. So that's the sock yarn blanket. And what I've done, yes, I put that in there. What I've done is, so these are all the sock yarn skeins, or sock yarn bits that I've used already. That was in this bag. And then all the stuff I haven't used is full in my Michelle Stitches, Michelle with 1L Stitches bag. So I have some more of that unknown, the brown sock yarn that I was just working on. This is some more of that unknown. This looks navy, but it's not. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't look as blue as it does on the screen, but this is pretty accurate. And this is some more of that unknown wool that I used to make a sweater. I don't remember who makes that, but that's some sock yarn that I've used. I think it might be Blue Moon Fiber Art Socks That Rock. I think that's what that might be. This is Shibui, and the colorway is way not accurate. This is a green, not what you see on the screen. I've got some creamy yellows. This was that main color for that sweater from all the unknown wool. This is the Gummy Bears from Sasha from Sheepspot. This is the Sustainable Merino Fingering. Some more of that butter yellow. This is, I believe, some Shibui in a nice aqua blue. I was making socks, baby socks out of this when I was first pregnant with the boys, but didn't have enough to make 2 socks. And then I think this is Sweet Georgia. It's pretty. So the color is not accurate. It's much more turquoise than you can see here. And finally, oh, no, not finally. This is some Volmais that I got in their sock club. This is, I was in the Loopy U. It wasn't a sock club per se. The club I participated in, they sent out a shawl pattern and a sock pattern for each of the yarn shipments, and so that's what's left of that. I don't remember. I made socks out of it. It's a nice, super soft merino. I don't remember who dyed it. And this is some more Hazelnuts Artisan sock yarn, and I don't remember the colorway. It's probably on my Ravelry page. But all these bits and bobs have yet to go in the sock yarn blankets, so that's pretty exciting. Got all these solid colors. I used all of the variegated kind of early. I need to be a little more aware of where I place things, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I think it's Socks That Rock. So, there should be hopefully a big dent in this by the next time I podcast. And hopefully I'll have started on a second row also as well, which should be pretty exciting. So that is all I'm knitting on. I don't currently I'm not knitting on a lot of things. I have been thinking about what I'm going to knit next. In this bag, I found these 2 of what I think are whole skeins, and the color, again, is not very accurate. These are very turquoise. They're, still not accurate. They're more, let's see, hold on, reversed. They're more like this color right here, how this appears, except a little more vivid. Much more saturated and bright. I guess that's a little more accurate what you see now. I believe these are whole skeins of either Koigu, which I don't think it's Koigu, or Shibui sock yarn. So I think I'm going to knit a pair of socks out of this, although I don't know what I'm going to do because it's a semi-solid to a solid, and I don't want to just do stockinette socks. I'm thinking of maybe trying to find a little lacy sock to do with this. So we'll see. And I didn't want to just use 2 whole skeins in that sock yarn blanket. This color is too pretty to just be part of the blanket. I should do something a little more with it. So that's one needle adjacent project that's going to be cast on hopefully soon. The next one is I'm trying to think of what my next sweater project is going to be. I've been working on the hopper cardigan since October, I believe. So let's see, October, November, December, January, February, March. So it's been 6 months since I started that. And frankly, 6 months for a sweater is kind of bad. So I'm going to try and do better with my next sweater. And I've been thinking of what that's going to be. And let me see if I can pull it up on my iPad here. Oh, do I have a dead iPad? I have a dead iPad. Well, I'll just tell it to you. I'm thinking doing the Hitofidu. I knew I was going to totally butcher. Hitofidu. It's that lacy sweater that Christine from the Yarnings podcast has made one. Let's see, I'm trying to think who else has one. There's like many thousands of... let me just pull it up on my iPhone. Hitofidude. I know that's not how it's pronounced. Hitofidude. It is... that one. Hitofude. Hitofidude. I was practicing this in the car, and I totally got it in the car this morning. So I'm thinking this is going to be my next sweater. And the way it's constructed is that you do this top part first, and you create kind of like a shrug, and then you pick up and knit around the edge of it. So there's that ribbing there, and then you pick up and knit the second portion of it. And I have some Volmise in a just a beautiful green that I was thinking of when I originally purchased when we went to Germany 4 or 5 years ago. I was originally thinking of doing just a regular sweater, but it's I haven't done anything with it, so I think I'm going to use it to make... Yeah, I can't even say it. I was like, I'm trying to remember how I said it in the car, and I'm failing. So, I think that's going to be the next sweater I'm going to cast on. I need to go upstairs and wind one of the balls. So I could either use Volmise lace weight. I have one skein of that, I believe in a green colorway as well, or I can do it in the sock yarn. And I'm thinking of doing it in the sock yarn more because I think it will be a little more, not weight, like if sock yarn could be more weighty versus lace weight, then weighty, yes. When I think weighty, I think more like Aran yarn. So I think I'm gonna do it out of the sock yarn. So I need to swatch and figure out sizing. I know there's been some ladies on Ravelry who they suggest instead of going by your bust size, when you knit that shrug part of it, then you kind of measure the distance from like the back around your arm, around your back, up around your arm, and then to here. So to figure out how many stitches you need and then to fit that size. So I have some planning to do. But first I gotta finish the hopper cardigan. I can't get too excited. I have to make a rule that I can't wind that yarn and swatch until I have finished that. I have to finish it. I have to. It's been on the needles too long. Okay. the last thing I wanted to talk about was sewing. And the big thing I have for sewing this week is I finished that quilt top that I was telling you about. And I finished the quilt back for that. And as soon as I finish talking with you, converting, uploading the podcast, and having lunch, because eating is very important, I'm going to baste this sucker. And for those of you who aren't familiar with quilting, basting is when you take your 3 layers of the quilt that's going to end up being the quilt. And those 3 layers are the quilt top, batting, and I'm going to be using Quilter's Dream Wool. I am a member of Massdrop, and Massdrop, it's like a group buying website, and what they do is they have these drops that they call them, and it can be all sorts of things. There's a quilting section. I think there's a crafting section, but I haven't seen too many like knitting needles or crochet things or yarn things. It's mostly sewing, crafting right now. But there's other there's audio like oh my gosh, I'm just have in-ear headphones. There we go, headphones. So I got a drop of this wool batting, and there were 2 twin sizes and 1 crib size, and I used 1 twin and 1 crib size for the boys' Christmas presents, and then I'm going to use this wool batting for the night sky quilt I'm going to show you. And it can be machine washed and dried with little to no shrinkage. So there's that. The wool is a little puffier than the cotton batting, and so I'm going to try and use that to my advantage. Hello, Scout. There's your 2 cat cameo. And then the quilt, I don't think I'm going to unfold all the way, just because you can't see it, but I'll unfold it most of the way. So there it is. This is the Night Sky quilt. It's a Jaybirds quilt pattern. It is been very challenging for me because this is the year I'm going to do more shapes that are other than squares and rectangles. And although it looks like I did shapes other than squares and rectangles here, this is paper piecing. And so the original pieces that you work with are rectangular. And then you cut off excess to make it. So it looks like I worked with triangles here, but I didn't. What I did here, I worked with purple triangles, black triangles, which you can't see because you can't see, and then diamonds. And I found that there was a little more bias than I liked. So some of these aren't as flat as they could be, but I did pretty good with all the points that you can see. Pretty excited. And then the quilt is going to have it's not going to be straight. It's going to have these points as part of the quilt. And then I'm going to have to use some bias binding to go around those corners. So there's that. So that's pretty spectacular. I'm pretty impressed with myself because it's the first time I've done anything to this scale. Like, I've done anything like this. So there's that. And then I had posted to Instagram, Scout, that's not for you. Thank you. I posted to Instagram that I had purchased this backing material in the States. Actually, I purchased the whole thing as other than the backing material. Okay, let me start over. I purchased that quilt top as a kit. So it came with the black fabric and all the colored fabric. I then purchased this material to use as the quilt backing because I knew I was probably going to quilt with black thread, and I wanted something that you could probably see the quilting on the back, but this is so busy that you probably won't unless I really densely quilt. And I posted to Instagram that I did not follow directions, apparently, with this night sky quilt, and I made extra half of those quilt blocks that I showed you last time. I made a total of 8 extra, and they ended up being 4 different, well, one of each color. So I didn't just want them to go to waste, because why go to all that work and have them go to waste? So I thought, I posted to Instagram, is this going to be too crazy to add those into the quilt back? Is this just too busy? So I was trying to get some opinions. I go to a Monday night quilting group. It's like a class/social. I mean, there's no structured lesson being taught. People come in with their projects, and if they need help, they get help. And this has been running since September, and it goes until about June, because here in Ireland, they take the summers off. So, I took this to my Monday night quilt group, and I one of the teachers is really well-renowned quilter here in Ireland, and her name is Mary Palmer, and I trust her opinion. And so I said, is this going to be too much to put these in? And she said, no, I don't think so. And then I asked for help in trying to figure out how I was going to do this in the quilt back. So, to show you, I have inset all of those 4 extra quilt blocks into the quilt back. There's one of every color. And I'm really pleased with how it turned out, because in some of them you can't really tell. Like in this one, you can't really tell where, I mean, if you look close, the seam is, yes, right there. But if you didn't know, and I held it back, I don't think you could tell. So these 4 stars turned out being a little extra wider than the quilt top. So now when I baste this, I have to kind of be careful where I lay the edge of the quilt, because I want to get as much of this star here as, I mean, I don't care about the black or this little part of the backing fabric. So I just have to make sure that, like if I put the edge of the quilt there, that it's A, straight, and B, gets all of the star and this star as well. So I have that little challenge ahead of me, but I am pleased as punch with how this turned out. It is a lot of extra work. Instead of just doing the piecing of or instead of just cutting a seam, or cutting the 3 5/8 yard of fabric in half and just sewing those together to create a quilt back. I think it looks so good. And I do think it is busy, but it's the quilt back. I don't care. I don't care. I do what I want. So, that is the sewing that I have. There should be some quilting on that between now and next week. I so I have 2 sewing machines. I have a Brother 950D that I purchased right after I learned how to sew. It is a sewing embroidery machine in one. And then I have a Juki 2010Q, which is my free motion quilting and straight stitch machine. So I got the Juki out. I used the Brother to piece all of that. So I got the Juki out, cleaned it, set it up, and then I'll oil it before I start using it to quilt this. So I have a busy afternoon ahead of me of basting. Well, first I got to clean up the playroom, which is where I do all the basting. And then I baste the quilt and start quilting the quilt. And I think I have an idea of what I'm going to do. Although we'll see. We'll see. So, that's it. I think. Yeah. I am going to... Hitofadude. I think it's Hitofadude. I don't know. Oh, Aaron fails at pronouncing things. I can't even pronounce. Pronounce. Whatever. Yes. So next week is April 2nd. I should podcast again then. It's going to be my brother's birthday. And yeah, I don't think we should be impacted by the holiday at all. I have some IPS stuff that I could show you, but I can't yet. I want to, but that'll have to wait until after that block is debuted at the meeting. I'm really pleased as punch with what I did yesterday after I finished doing the quilt back. So that's everything. I'm going to really say goodbye, and there's a few things of the boys after this, so I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Malcolm, show me the rock. No? Was that a rock? Good job.
Daddy, I got it, Daddy.
Come on, Mac. You can do it, Nate. Come on. You've done it. There you go. You got it. We gonna slide? Whee! Your turn, Mac. Come on, you can do it. Whee! Good job. Come on, Mr. Nate. It's too big.
What? Wait until that playground opens at the regional park.
Come on, little boys. Go, Nathaniel.
Ready?